In a movie like this, it's an action movie with a male-dominated audience. You're going to have to play to your audience. And playing to the audience would have probably been to continue to use that, a more mature sex appeal from ScarJo. Now, I haven't seen the movie yet. We haven't seen everything, but I've seen the previews. I've seen the trailers. You know, okay, we're going to put a female action hero lead in here. Some eye candy would be nice, especially when this franchise is kind of hanging on by a thread already. It doesn't look like the rest of the movie is going to be a whole lot to write home about. This was probably not a good time for this interview to come out. Renegade Online. This happened the other day. This is part of a real problem. You know, ScarJo has been on this kick of not wanting to be part of the male gaze anymore. And we've all seen how Scarlett Johansson looks in this new movie. She's in baggy, you know, jungle clothes or whatever, hunting around. I mean, she's dressed up like Chris Pratt. No makeup. She's trying to do this as a more serious action star. She doesn't want to be thought of as the sex symbol anymore. I understand that. You know, she's 40. She's a mom. She doesn't want to do those kind of roles anymore. But I get it. And I've talked about that before. I respect the decision. But here's the problem. In a movie like this, it's an action movie with a male-dominated audience. You're going to have to play to your audience. And playing to the audience would have probably been to continue to use that. I mean, even at this point, a more mature sex appeal from ScarJo. Now, I haven't seen the movie yet. We haven't seen everything, but I've seen the previews. I've seen the trailers. And you know, okay, we're going to put a female action hero lead in here. Some eye candy would be nice, especially when this franchise is kind of hanging on by a thread already. It doesn't look like the rest of the movie is going to be a whole lot to write home about. ScarJo is opening up how roles have changed for women since she joined Hollywood. In a recent interview with the Times of London, Johansson said that when she first entered the industry, the roles she was offered usually centered around desirability and the goals and needs of her male counterparts. However, she thinks the Hollywood of today is ushering in a different time for young women. The messaging is different. There are many more role models. Women are visible in powerful positions, and the opportunities I've had to play women who don't have to be just one thing or another have increased. But when I was younger, a lot of the roles I was offered or went in for had their ambitions or character arcs revolving around their own desirability or the male gaze, or a male-centered story. That is less frequent, though. Something has shifted. Here's the problem, though, that she may not want to admit or maybe not realize. She is right in a lot of this, but the type of roles that she's still engaging in, like this with Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, are still very male-centered. It is still about the male gaze. So if you want to be able to get the $20 million paychecks for doing the action flicks, then you're going to have to play to the audience that's there. If not, that's going to dry up. I mean, Scarlett Johansson's entire career, the fact that she is currently worth 20, 30 million, whatever they're paying her for this film, it's probably not cheap. Okay, it's probably at least 20, 30 million dollars to headline this film. The whole reason that she is worth that much money is because she did the roles that she did. It's because she did the role of Black Widow and played in the male universe of the MCU. And yes, it was decidedly male-driven. That's what Disney bought it for, even though they have since in the last 5 years completely effed it up. She had her own movie, right? They made the Black Widow movie. Yeah, it was after the character died. You can blame Kevin Feige for that. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The problem is it really wasn't that big of a hit. Nobody cared that much about it. Nobody went to go see it for its own thing, because why? The thing is that, look, you want to make this kind of money in Hollywood, there are certain films that you're going to have to do. Even for the guys in the movies, right? The guys in the movies, hey, a lot of them, they're not looking at this like, oh, wow, this will be the greatest accomplishment of my acting career is to go in and play a Marvel superhero. They'll probably get paid really well, but it's not going to get them any critical accolades, right? Nobody's going to look back in history and say that the greatest performances by somebody like Benedict Cumberbatch was as Doctor Strange, even though he was really good at it, at least in the first, before we got to phase 4 and 5. But when we look at the guys, even in the MCU relied on the female gaze quite a bit, did they not? How many shots and how many times did we get Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth with their shirt off or in tight clothes or showing their butt like in Thor 4, right? What did Hollywood do that for? They didn't do it for the guys that were already going to go watch the movies, if they were going to at that point by the time we got to Thor 4, which they really didn't. They were doing it for the women. They were doing it for the female gaze. So honestly, ScarJo, she can be upset all she wants, but the door does swing both ways, especially with the very franchise, the MCU, that made her what she is and what she's been a part of now for the past 15 years. I wouldn't complain too hard. I mean, all of her wealth that she's accumulated has been based upon that. This is another issue that I think is going to be a problem for Jurassic World. So let's talk about it. And we've got some data there to share with you. And here's the problem. I want everybody to wrap their head around this one. Pretty simple. Jurassic World 2015, the first of the newly rebooted Jurassic World series. Big movie. Look at that blue line way up there. Couple $100 million above the next two. The next one, Fallen Kingdom, which I referred to as Fallen Franchise, is the red line. And Jurassic World Dominion, which was supposed to kind of try to reinvigorate things a little bit more by bringing back the original cast like Laura Dern and Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum, actually underperformed Fallen Kingdom. So where are we going with this new one? And you look at this and forget the budgets for a second, because we know those production budgets are absolutely garbage in terms of their relationship to reality. But realistically here, you look at the domestic opening weekends. Forget inflation for a second. This is terrifying. $208 million, almost $209 million for Jurassic World, $148 million for Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion with $145. Now adjust it for inflation. Don't look at the inflation-adjusted box office underneath it, because we know that's not quite right, right? What it really winds up being is from 2015, I mean, you're looking at a domestic box office here, opening weekend. If this were today, that 208 is over 300. It's like, it's enormous. It's 300, maybe 350. I mean, it's blazing up there. I mean, ticket prices, we have so many more IMAX screens. We have so many more PLF screens. Ticket prices back in 2015, you were probably paying maybe about $12 there for a premium ticket, if that. Right now, go to a premium ticket screen right now. It's about $18 at the same theater where I am. I mean, it's going up tremendously. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in 2018, that might be about 175, 108. Well, probably more than that, probably close to 200 million today. And then Dominion, which came after COVID, when we already started getting the inflationary pressures, that might be about 160. So the point is that the number of butts and seats has dwindled sharply. It's not just the box office here. This one is actually projected to open up even lower. Right now, predictions have it at about 130 million. And we've got July 4th. It's on a Friday, which can be a bit of an injury to this, because people tend to do stuff with family on 4th of July, like outdoors. It can be very unpredictable. I'm sure they'll go see a movie Saturday. Some of them are going to go see the movie today. Some of them are going to go see it tomorrow. But Friday might be kind of a soft day because of that. We haven't had a July 4th land on a Friday for quite some time, I think. It's been at least 10 years. Again, you look at the total worldwide box office. Dismissing inflation for a second, we've went from almost 1.7 billion on the first one to 1.3 billion to 1 billion. We're dropping about 300 million each turn. And I think that's going to hold up. We don't have Chris Pratt. And ScarJo, they want to go with the female action star lead in it. It really has not been a successful endeavor up to this point. that I'm aware of, not in any major blockbuster type action movie in the last, I don't know, 20, 30 years, maybe. I can't think of one. I might be forgetting something, but I mean, this is a tall hill to climb. This was probably not a good time for this interview to come out. Now, the good thing is that Jurassic World is going to be probably dominated by younger male audiences. They want to go see the dinosaurs. Renegade Jr. wants to go see it just to see what happens, because he loves the franchise. He's got a whole bunch of the collectibles and stuff like this for Jurassic World. He's going to go see it. Okay, we're going to go see it tomorrow night. A lot of the audience is going to be like that. But in terms of repeat business, in terms of the adult male audience, or the older male audience, I think kind of a lot of them, obviously from the numbers we showed earlier, had already started checking out. My concern is ScarJo going to turn around when this thing doesn't do near as well as the last 3 movies with Chris Pratt in them, and try to say that, well, this was male sexism, even though we had the chart. I'll pull it up again. Even though on this chart you can clearly see right here, 1.66 billion, 1.66 billion for Jurassic World, 1.3 billion for Fallen Kingdom, 1 billion for Dominion. The trends with this, combined with what we know now where this movie is probably going to open at, according to the last bit of projections we have walking in the door, is that this is going to fall. It's fallen about $300 million each movie. It looks like right now that's almost exactly like what this next one is going to fall. That this next one, the one that's out right now, is going to wind up at around $700 million, because we still have Superman coming out a week later, or 10 days later. That is not a lot of time. Not a lot of time. The first Jurassic World movie opened with over $500 million globally. $500 million globally. They're projecting Jurassic World Rebirth to open with half of that 10 years later. No inflation adjustments. Deadline is talking about $260 million global opening. That ain't good.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.